Well, hey, everybody. Yeah, here you are. It's momentum. Here I am. I'm Tracy Brown, and it is time to build some momentum related to interrupting or ending race based hatred and violence. If you're not already familiar with the What Is Mine to Do group, then go hang out over at Facebook and just put in a search for What Is Mine to Do, the group, and you will find that there are several thousand people who are committed to asking the question, what is mine to do to interrupt or end race based hatred and violence? And right now, in this phase of the cycle of humanity, it just feels like it is time to build some momentum for building the skills that we need, equipping one another to be able to have difficult conversations related to racism, and race relations, and then actually practicing with each other, with one another. And what's different about the What Is Mine to Do group is there are a lot of groups that are really diving into group action, collective action, into political action. But what makes the What Is Mine to Do group different is that we are focused on individual behavior with other individuals. So, interacting with and influencing the behaviors with people you work with, go to school with, worship with, people in your own community that you come into contact with. And how do you build bridges, and how do you change your behavior and influence behaviors of others, one on one or in small groups? Don't get me wrong. I absolutely believe collective action, political action is critical. And we also need more people who are willing to take personal action. So, this series on Monday evenings at 8 p.m. is really designed to each week focus on one idea or one resource or one skill, and in just a few minutes, reminding you of what is something you can do, something I can do, because I'm reminding myself as well to interrupt or end race based hatred and violence. So tonight, I am really interested in focusing on how we frame the conversation related to what is mine to do, and how we frame it for ourselves. And I want us to avoid a pitfall. And so I'm going to tell you the story. I'm actually going to read you the story about one issue Wanda that is in the book, What Is Mine to Do, or Mine to Do, Responding to Race Based Hatred and Violence. And it's on, if you happen to have the book, it's on page 83. And the title of this piece is Fighting or Forwarding? Fighting or forwarding. I was facilitating a 2 day retreat with the Diversity Council. There was one person in the group who I will refer to as One Issue Wanda. We had been meeting for a day and a half, and every comment Wanda made, every question she asked, and every idea she offered was directly related to one specific identity group. Finally, one of her colleagues raised his hand. When it was his turn to speak, he got her attention and asked, "Do you care about any employees in our organization who are from other ethnic groups?" Well, of course, her answer was, "Yes, I care about all employees." he then followed up with, so why do you only speak about what needs to be done for employees in your own ethnic group? She paused and said, well, the only group I know anything about is my own, and somebody has to speak up for us. There was complete silence in the room. Then a different person, the person sitting next to her, said, I am a white woman. If every comment I made and every question I asked was about white people, you would say I was being racist. That's not fair. Another employee at the next table quickly chimed in. Well, Wanda, you expect me to learn about your ethnic group, and I'm happy to do so. But aren't you also supposed to learn about all of ours? We are all learning together, aren't we? This exchange led into a really deep and thoughtful conversation about what it takes to be inclusive. The conversation quickly went beyond ethnicity and included the group's desire to ensure inclusion of employees based on sexual orientation, physical disability, age, and other dimensions of diversity. Frustrations were shared and courageous statements about going beyond individual experience were made. But one of the most powerful comments came from Wanda a little later in the dialogue when she said this. I guess I've just always believed you all didn't really care about me and I needed to fight tooth and nail to get anything done. But as I listen to you now, and when I think about our meetings over the past year, I know that's not true. End quote. So what about you? What about you? Do you think the only way to be a champion for diversity is to put on your battle gear and, get armored up for every conversation? Do you assume that if you're going to talk about race, it's got to be a fight? Or do you realize that being inclusive is a learning opportunity where everyone can become an ally for everyone else? For a day and a half, this group had some very important conversations, and really a lot of valuable information was shared. But it was during the final 3 hours of that retreat that new bridges were built, new expectations were agreed to, and they became a team more fully able to model equity and inclusion for all. And again, this was titled Fighting or Forwarding. And so, as that relates to what we are doing and talking about in the What Is Mine to Do group, specifically focused on interrupting race based hatred and violence, we have to think about, are we assuming everything is a fight? Or can we forward an agenda where the consciousness that allows racism gets weakened and interrupted by forwarding a vision for what we know would be a better way? Do we assume we have to fight for ourselves to be noticed? And so we go at everything as if it is a battle instead of recognizing we each know people who want to learn more, who want to create a more fair and equitable society or school or church or neighborhood. And sometimes we assume there's a fight, but we're the ones causing the fight. There are times, I'm not naive. Yes, there are times where it will be a battle. There are times when you will want to interrupt some behavior and the person will be defensive or angry or just out and out, in opposition to what you're suggesting. But really, that might be 20% of the time. It might be 30% of the time. Is that what you are using to fuel your conversation and your interventions? And if so, then when we do that, we may be creating the problem. I believe that much of the time when people say or do things that are racially insensitive, they are not doing it on purpose. Yes, there are times when it's on purpose. Yes, we know there are whole movements in society today that intend for it to be contentious. But for most of us, when we are interacting with the people who we come into contact with in the course of our everyday lives, the majority of the time, people are well intentioned and well meaning. They just don't know. Or they just forgot and they need a reminder. Or they need someone to coach them about what they could say differently or how they could show up differently. And they would be willing to do that. So don't be one issue Wanda, assuming that everything is a fight, assuming that everything that comes up must be dealt with in a heavy and hard way. Don't be like one issue Wanda. That is the focus and the message for today's momentum. I hope that you got something from that story. Feel free to put in the chat any comment you have, or maybe you have met a one issue Wanda before. Hopefully, you haven't been the one issue Wanda. But if this is helpful for you, just to give you a different way to think about how do I have a conversation? What questions could I ask? What suggestions can I make? And how do I want to make them? That's what we're about within the What Is Mine to Do group. Taking action, because you may have heard me say it before. The question, what is mine to do, implies I'm ready to take action. It's not, what do I want to think? Oh, oh, hmm. What is mine to feel? What is mine to judge? What is mine to criticize? No, it's what is mine to do. And so let's all be committed to working together and doing more. My name is Tracy Brown, and I'm so glad that you joined me as we build momentum together. And I'll see you over at What Is Mine to Do.